Hello, how are you doing today? Good to see everyone. Hi, Belinda.
Hi.
Hi, Linda, Lisa, Nance, Amanda, Brian. So good to be with you today on our Thankful Thursday series, now evolved to gratitude circles. We're just going to pause for a second while it seems like some folks are still joining us. Today I was in a trainer on or a training session on hosting healing circles, and I was just struck by what happens in these shared spaces, and it made me kind of think about mindfulness as it's the practice of noticing change versus heartfulness, which sort of felt like this is the practice of noticing the change in our hearts. And I feel like the practice of gratitude kind of brings the mindfulness and the heartfulness together in a beautiful way. So how are you, Belinda?
I'm doing well. It's nice to see familiar faces from last week as well as some new folks. So, yeah, very excited to get to know everyone and co create this space together for connection and self care.
So as we get going, I would love for you to share in the chat where you're joining us from, just so that we can, even if we're meeting here in Cyberland, we're still actually in some physical locations. And so it would be just great for us to see in the chat, which is our shared journal, where we're coming from. So Veronica, it's good to see you joining us from Atlanta. It's great to have you here.
Super happy to see you too, Omar. Really, really nice to see you again.
Thank you so much for joining us. I love that we're covering all across the country right now. It's just beautiful to be able to share this space and time together. We're now going to do a quick check-in. Brian, who is our producer, audio engineer extraordinaire, I think is going to be able to pop up a quick poll. And just the purpose of this is just to share kind of where you're coming from right now in terms of we've shared sort of physically where we might be coming from and just sort of where our minds or emotions might be. So are you holding any expectations, appreciations, distractions, or something else? And if it's something else, feel free to share what that is in the chat. And this is just an invitation to then let whatever that expectation, appreciation, or distraction go as we enter into this new space together. I think we're almost one more person wants to share. All right, we'll close it and let's see how folks are feeling. So lots of, I love this. Lots of people feeling appreciation, some distraction, and some other things. So as we begin, just the flow is Belinda's going to guide us through a meditation, a short meditation just to kind of help us get centered. Then we will pull the magic gratitude blooming cards, and we'll just have a volunteer for each round, and we'll do as many rounds as we have time for. Again, the purpose of the prompt is just to really remember there's only two roles in the gratitude circle. One is that your inner teacher is your best guide. And two is that there's no fixing, saving of others. And we honor those two things, then we can practice what I like to call social self-care, and really bring the two wings of gratitude together, which is really about nourishing yourself and being in community and in relationship with each other. And then we'll close with a gratitude. Sound good? Thumbs up.
Yeah, and just one more thing that I want to add to what Omar shared is that you're the owner of this experience as well as the co-creator in this experience. So there will be opportunities for us to share. And for those of you who are coming into the circle for the first time, really tune into what you're needing right now in this group space. If you feel like you want to kind of be more of an observer and just kind of absorb the circle by just awareness, that's 100% okay. If you feel like you want to be more reflective through the community journal and the chat, that's also an okay way to express yourself, as well as sharing verbally. So I just wanted to share that all forms of expression are welcome here in this space.
Thank you. All right.
So yeah, shall we drop into the space a little bit deeper? All right, so let's just take a minute to get a little bit more comfortable in our physical bodies. So we're all in different time zones right now. And so I just want us to bring our awareness to our physical bodies in this beautiful circle and just take a minute to get a little bit looser in your body or a little bit more grounded by just making contact between your tailbone and where you're sitting. So let's just kind of arrive in a really physical, embodied way into this space. And if there's a place that feels a little tight today, like for me, it's my shoulders, I'm just gonna invite you to just be aware of that and just let it drop just a little bit for your comfort. And as you enter into the space, as you feel physically ready to arrive, just take your time to gently close your eyes. And we're going to take a couple deep rounds of breath together to get in sync with ourselves and each other. So imagining with each inhale, breathing in new energy from the earth, from the center of Mama Earth. Imagine that washing all over us from the front of our body, going to the top of our heads. And then with the exhale, washing the back of our bodies like a wave. So doing a couple deep inhales at your own pace and exhales. Imagining that breath giving us new vitality, energy, and letting go anything that we're holding on to that we want to release. Breathing in and breathing out. For this next round of breath, imagine a golden light coming from the universe, from the sky, and dropping in from the top of our head as we breathe, and beaming all the way down to our hearts. Imagine your heart being bathed by this golden light. And with each breath, your heart expands and becomes even more radiant. Imagine now a seed growing from that golden light in your heart. And then imagine that seed with each breath growing into a beautiful flower. Could be a flower that you love, or something that just comes to you in this moment. With each breath, that golden light in your heart feeds this beautiful flower that's growing within you. Imagining the petals getting more colorful, more fragrant as you breathe into your heart. Just enjoying the beauty that lives within you through that flower. Imagining the fragrance of that sweet gentleness of that flower. From this place of gentle, tender connection to our hearts, let's allow that flower to tell us what it needs. How does it want to be nourished? What makes that flower come alive? What does it want you to know right now? You can even make contact with your hand to your heart just to acknowledge this beautiful flower growing within you. With each breath, that golden light continuing to nourish you deeply and more. And I want you to bring your attention from the beautiful petals of the flower down to the stem of your flower. Noticing the contact the plant is making to the soil of your heart. And from that place, notice if there are any weeds or anything in that soil of your heart that needs to be composted back into the earth in order for it to fully bloom. With each, noticing what that represents for you in your life. If there's anything that is depleting you and your energy, or just ways that are not helpful. Imagining those weeds traveling all the way down into the earth to be comforted by Mother Earth. Giving gratitude for even those things that no longer serve us. With this clearing, imagining your flower becoming even more vibrant, more clear. And from this place of clarity and purity of heart, we're going to give our gratitude to our hearts for letting us feel all the feelings and emotions of life, for being our guide, and to Mother Earth for everything she does to bring life, for allowing the compost to become new life again. Breathing in the energy of new life. Breathing out anything we want to let go of. And take as many deep breaths as you need. And we'll slowly transition back from our inner world to this beautiful circle with open hearts, ready to receive any wisdom for today. Just looking at the beautiful circle as you transition back with soft eyes, and giving gratitude for the beautiful community we have here today. Just sending that love from your heart to everyone here in this circle.
That was beautiful, Belinda. Thank you. For those that may have joined a little late, welcome. And I had opened with just thinking about mindfulness versus heartfulness and sort of the noticing of change in the world versus the noticing of change within our hearts and stuff. Belinda, that was a beautiful meditation to bring those two things together. And so again, the two roles: you are your best teacher, your inner guide is your best teacher, and there's no fixing and saving as others. And so as people share what comes up for them, and this is again part of the practice of noticing what's happening within us and around us, those are the two rules. And so this is my favorite part, where we get to pick a volunteer to see what cards get pulled. And just feel free to either use the reaction at the bottom bar. I think there's a raise hand button, or you can physically raise your hand and we can see it if your video is on. And as people share prompts, while we might not have verbal responses, feel free to also use those reactions to kind of share resonance. Did I see a hand, Veronica? Or is it just moving on the chin? I don't know. Hold on. Yeah. All right. Feel free to go ahead and access your mic. For those who've been on this before, I hate saying unmute yourself. I feel like it's just the wrong place to come from. This is about accessing your mic and, giving voice. So there's 39 cards, 7 rows. Just feel free to tell Belinda where you'd like to go.
Okay. I'm gonna go with, okay, stop there. And then to the right, that one.
Wow, the rose
Oh
vulnerability.
my God, you guys, we just did that. I saw a rose in my heart.
Can you make that a little bigger, Belinda? That screen or no? I think I can read it here.
And I zoomed in to you guys, like you could just, if you're on your phone, you could just zoom it in.
So I'll just read it out loud. It got blurry now. There we go. It takes courage to be vulnerable. How can you show vulnerability to others? What can bloom for those from those connections? And so we invite you, Veronica, to sort of start us off with anything that comes up for you. And then others will be invited to share afterwards. There'll be silence in between, and feel free to go when there's a moment.
It's so serendipitous that this is happening the way that it is. Thank you so much, Belinda. That was a really beautiful meditation. Today I spent some time reviewing my 2020, and I started my life coaching practice then, and I could see very clearly I had a pretty traumatizing 2019, and so I could see where my business actually started. And I was really struggling financially in the beginning of the year. And then I saw my first paying client. So today I messaged them. I sent them a voice memo like this, in tears of happiness, saying, I'm so grateful for you and for trusting me with your soul work. And just so you know, you were my first paying client. You were my second paying client, and so on. So I did that for my first 3 paying clients, and just expressed that. I was really vulnerable. I was like, okay, you probably didn't know, but I was like in a low place then too. And in helping you, I helped myself too. And so they replied and they were like, I didn't even know that was happening for you. And now I feel like we have an even deeper bond and deeper connection. And they know that I really cherish their business. And I sense that, I'll get more clients from this, and also just deeper connections and more love, just in exchange for everybody. So that's my piece.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing, Veronica. Just feel your heart so strongly. So just wanted to say that. And I just love how the card says all shall be well too, right next to the petals as they fall. It's like, oh.
I'm writing it down.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have something come up for them? It could be a part from the meditation or from the card or the flower or the prompt.
I think for me, this is Cameron. Hi, everybody. I am really like even the first sentence of it takes courage to be vulnerable. And I just keep reading that over and over and over and thinking about, even professionally, how we have transitioned into a time now where, like I tell my team, you have to be relational. We can no longer be completely transactional. People are stuck in their homes working, and you don't know what they're dealing with or holding behind those cameras. And so finding ways to lean in, to invite people to be vulnerable in the ways that are comfortable for them, or simply just expressing and listening. What I'm learning too is that how I can show vulnerability to others is that people just want to be heard. Not to keep going back to this moment, but we can't escape from it. People really just want to be heard and listened to. And so even just taking a moment to listen rather than rushing into an agenda, or holding space to really ask someone genuinely, how are you? Or how's your day going? Takes on new meaning, I think, in this moment than it's ever had before. And so what can bloom from those connections is really allowing space to show people that it's okay. Part of our work, 100% of my work is making sure that, that I build relations. Relations yield results. Relationships, yield results. If you're in philanthropy, it's 100% relational, no matter where you sit, whether you sign a check, you write a grant, or you talk to a member or a funder. Relationships are everything. And so even if you took the professional out of it, we're humans at the end of the day. And humans, no matter who you are, no matter how tough you want your exterior to be, underneath that, no one has ever refused kindness. No one has ever refused empathy. No one has ever refused compassion. And so in some small way, people just want to be touched. And in this moment, to be reminded that it's just like the card says, all will be well.
Cameron.
I'd like to share something.
Please.
I am new to the group. This is my first night on here. I'm a teacher. I'm a 6th grade teacher. And it's so weird because I've been doing meditations and I've been praying with the Bible, and I've been just trying to do positive things for myself. And it's so weird that you talked about a flower blooming, because I was just reading into some articles, and there's a course coming up for teachers that's self-care. And it was allowing the students or staff to say whether they're a rose, a bud, or a thorn, and referring to that for their feelings in that moment. And I've never heard it put that way. I grasped it. I was like, oh my gosh, it's perfect. So when you brought the flower, I was like, where am I? Am I a rose right now, or am I a thorn? I feel like a rose today. Today was a good day. But the other thing along that was, again, allowing others to share how they're feeling, and not judging, allowing them to tell you why they feel that way. Oh, it's going to be all right. It's not, that doesn't work. More like, tell me how you're feeling. Why are you feeling that way? And allowing them to be real, rather than dumbing it down or making it like, oh, you're fine, or you're beautiful, or whatever it might be. So it really touched me in that capacity tonight. And how I've always tried to be positive, but the fact that you brought up the flower, I grasped right onto it. So thank you of the gratitude. I'm excited to be here tonight. I need this, and I need these things every day. I know that I'm a better person when I keep going back to the positive, and it's a hard life right now. The world is, there's a lot of things going on, but coming back to why we're here, and what are the things that are good, focusing on what's right rather than what's wrong. I've always been pretty positive, but I love the meditation, and I love the gratitude and the vulnerability, and allowing us to just be real with how we're feeling, and others to do that too, and being a good listener. So thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'll go. I'm new too, just like Lori, and I've been doing some exploratory work with my heart. I typically have a lot of self-doubt and um, have been kind of just feeling into my heart more and learning how to just deal with feelings, basically. And like the very concept that I have a heart, I know that sounds weird, but that's new for me. Like this area that is not just feelings. Anyway, it's new. And I guess I feel a lot of gratitude when you were doing meditation with the flower image. It was so beautiful. I do a lot of meditation, and I've never done one on a flower before, so it was lovely. And I felt a sort of like reconnection with this other work that I've been doing, like kind of just like, oh yeah, my heart, there it is. I know where it is now. I'm like, it's a familiar concept now. And I think just like that sense of repetition and kind of starting to actually feel like just an iota of competence with that whole idea was a moment of gratitude for myself. Like I've been doing the work and it's starting to pay off and it's starting to feel like it's kind of a touch point. So yeah, pretty awesome moment. So thank you.
For those that are new, I'll just say that silence is a participant as well. And so you'll notice probably longer pauses than you might experience in other settings. And that's by design, because yeah, as Miles Davis said, music is the silence between the notes. Rita, please. And then Trisha.
Hi.
Is Rita from, oh, okay, good.
Hi.
Rita, are you from Rochester?
I'm from Redmond, Washington.
Okay, I saw the name and thought it was someone that it was actually a parent when I went to school. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No problem, Lori. No problem whatsoever. I'm not showing my video because I'm just not looking too good right now. I'm going to try to do this without crying, but I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer stage 4 in July of 19. Since then, I've been going through several chemo cocktails trying to find my perfect match. Been 4 rounds now, and nothing has worked. And my tumors keep going up. And then I finally got an opportunity to meet with the University of Washington and Fred Hutchinson for a trial. I was really excited about, but I didn't qualify. So that was a huge letdown. Another time, I got a call back a month later, just last month, saying that I qualified for a new one. And I was so excited because I just want something to work, right? It could be the next one. And I met the doctors, and they said that it's a sure thing. If you want to go for this, you go for it. It starts next week and it goes on for 6 weeks. And I looked at my husband, I said, oh God, we planned this trip to Maui for 2 weeks with our whole family, thinking this might be our last vacation, where my husband and I were planning to renew our vows. So I said, my doctor, my life right now is worth living, and I don't want to give up my 2-week vacation with my family. It was too special for me. And he looked at me and he said, "You really want to give this up and go on vacation?" And I said, "I feel good right now. I'm healthy. My heart feels good. I'm active. I'm alive." I says, "I'm going to go to Hawaii." And so I passed on the trial. And now I have friends judging me that why did I do that? Why did I choose to go on vacation instead of trying this trial that could save my life? And I said to him, "This vacation is my life. My family is my life. I am saving my life." So I try to shut them down. I mean, I try to ignore what their negative feelings are for my decision and just try to move on. And since then, we just got back yesterday and had such a wonderful, wonderful time. It was just a godsend. And my husband and I had a most beautiful renewal ceremony on the sand and the beach. That'll always be a wonderful memory to my kids. So that's my story today. The judgment is the hardest thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else want to respond to this prompt on vulnerability? I think Trisha, you had your hand up earlier.
I was going to pick a card.
You want to pick a card? Okay.
Are you want to stay on this topic for a minute?
Well, let's just hold it. Does anybody else want to share on this card before we pull a next? All right. Your timing was perfect, Trisha.
Okay. Let's see. We're looking for that one right there in the middle. Stop. To the left. Right there. Violet.
Just I'll read it in case the font's a little small. Violets, which is the prompt is humility. Humility is a quiet yet powerful gift. How can you share this gift with others?
I have to think about that one. I love the violet flower though. Humility. Just showing up and being here in space each time. Holding space. Being with all in circle. And holding space for others. Sending love and light. That's what I'd like to say about that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Although things seem to be in turmoil about and around, the ground is being cultivated around. Just a thought.
See Karen saying?
Okay. I was going to share that when I've studied humility in the past, there's like this anchoring quote that I love. And it just like, as soon as I saw the card, it hit me. And it says that it's a directive to you, no more than my space, no less than my place. Or it might be backwards. I can never remember, but it's about the awareness of what I taught my sons was don't ever be the ball hog. If you know, like if they're playing basketball and they're always the one grabbing the ball. And And I think that that's just such a beautiful, simple quote that represents humility. You know, that, like you said, Omar, that I love silence being a participant. That's such a powerful statement, you know, that there's like however many squares there are on this in this circle, there's that empty one, right? That's for silence. And so that really resonates with that idea that, see, now I'm taking up too much space, but the idea of you want to make sure that as a participant, you're present, taking some space and not too much.
Would you mind saying the quote one more time?
Yeah, no, it's well, no more than my space, no less than my place. But I might be wrong, and it might be no less than my space, no more than my place. But either way, it says the same thing. It's about making sure that you are present, but not the ball hog. Like, you're not monopolizing, because that takes you all the way to the extreme from humility to arrogance. And so it's finding that balance.
Thank you. I'll go. When you spoke, Karen, I remember writing this paper around humility. And so I, just actually spent some time sort of researching it. And apparently the definition of it is around seeing with accuracy. So it's not necessarily, I think sometimes it's not about high or low, but around accuracy. And it's interesting because then it's about the noticing. And it's just fascinating. So then in some ways, humility is really around a practice of noticing about what is. And I'll just pull from Carter on vulnerability and Veronica, Cameron, who's on here as well. We worked together last year, and she was one of the few paying clients, and I was a little nervous about inviting her to this circle because it's still in creation, but I am so excited about what this space holds, and I just trusted this space because I never know who shows up, and you never know what's going to happen, but I just trust that. And there's a humility, I guess, in just not knowing and just trusting that this space just works, not because of me or Belinda or anything, but that there's somehow this container that's been created through the synchronicity of the cards. So it was definitely a practice in vulnerability and humility. So thank you. We probably, if anybody else wants to, okay, Veronica, there you guys see a hand. Go for it.
Yeah, I just wanted to similarly, connect those dots that both vulnerability and with humility, the way that we can share the gift with others is by practicing it. And it's not easy. It's not easy. It's not easy. But once you do it, you're free with both. When you practice humility and you notice that we're all the same, we're just in different, skin suits, but we're all souls and we're all the same. way we share it with others and encourage it is by doing it ourselves. You can't like force someone to be humble or to be vulnerable. Like you kind of just have to walk the walk. And they both are just very beautiful in the difficulty that they take. That's all.
I think what's coming up for me around the connection today is just yeah, there's a real tenderness to these two themes that I want to acknowledge. Like every Thursday it's like a different energy, and today there's just like a particular tenderness that I just want to hold like very gently, like a little baby kitten or something, you know, like and what comes up for me is just around this, like to be vulnerable and to be humble, you know, we have to like release our egos and and oftentimes when I think about my own ego, it's like lives in my head and it's like wants to like prove my worth and it demonstrates it through words. You know, I need to show people how, you know, that I'm of value because I don't fully believe that. And I think the power of the heart that I'm learning too, Kate, like how you were mentioning, Kate, like you're learning this connection, like the more that I connect with my heart, it's been really, it is like, it just like I don't need to voice it with my words or like show it. I can just like show up and it's an energy. And I noticed that the people that have humility and are so good at humility, like it is this like quiet strength and really easy to overlook it because it's so quiet. And so, yeah, I'm just like, I want to take that with me this week and just notice like, where do I see that in my life and in the people that I'm around, like in myself, like how I relate to others in this way. So just, yeah, feels very tender.
Hi, Omar, and hi, Belinda. Thank you so much, everyone. Seeing your beautiful faces on the tiles. This is my first time here. And so when I think about both of these words that have come up, humility and vulnerability, I think about letting go, just in every way, on the dance floor, in relation to, you know, your role at work, in relation to how much control you feel you have in your own life. When I think about these two words, I really feel like that's the thing, you know, I have to find in my life experience, letting go was a very difficult thing to do because not trained to do that. We're trained to sort of, you know, follow the cue, color between the lines, inside the lines, follow the instructions. I had a teacher who once said, yeah, go to college and do that. What you're going to get is not really a degree. You're going to get a marketable personality. And I really felt that. We talked a lot about, you know, what it means to let the ego go. So thank you for this space. It's quite a different space from others that I've been in, and it's quite lovely. Thank you so much.
We have time for probably one more card. If anybody's excited to pull a card, feel free to raise your hand. Amy, was that a hand? No, it wasn't, not a hand. Just kidding.
I can pick one if we want.
All right.
How about the third row down? And go one more row down, please. And where's that? Right there. Second to the end.
So it's sunflower, reverence. The root of the word reverence means to stand in awe. What inspires awe in your life?
First of all, I love sunflowers. The beauty and how they turn to the light, and then they take a little rest, and then they come up with the light. So I guess the natural rhythm of a sunflower I love and appreciate, and I'm in awe. I think one thing that's coming into my mind is the fact that when we did our poll in the beginning, apprehension had a red line that was the longest. And that despite that, there's been all this beautiful sharing and vulnerability, and I just feel love and graciousness towards the sharing that's happening, and a deep appreciation, reverence for it. Yeah.
Thank you. Denise wrote in the chat, this circle and the people in it. Thank you, Denise. Veronica.
What inspires awe in me is the human soul and spirit's ability to thrive when it is challenged. So knowing that when we're challenged, our soul can come through and shine brightly, and save us. So just knowing that within all of us, we have that superpower that we can overcome no matter what the challenge is. That's all.
Thank you. Amanda.
The first thing that came to my mind when seeing the word reverence and reading the question, I thought about just the power of God and its ability to hear me when I pray. Because prayer has been a thing that I've had to really understand, learn, and believe in last year and even this year. And sometimes you feel like, am I just talking to myself? Am I being heard? Like, there can be silence, you might have to wait a period of time to hear back from God, for me especially. But when I get an answer, when I see something happen in my life that is specifically what I asked for, I mean exactly, and something that I cannot manifest on my own, I'm just left in like complete awe. And just like, I don't really understand this thing. I'm learning who God is. It's like a mind-blowing experience, but I know I'm heard. Even my tears fall on deaf ears, and something happens in my life where I just know the truth, even without fully understanding. I can just know the truth, and that leaves me like in awe and dumbfounded. The last time I joined the circle, I was calling in from Los Angeles. And when we checked in, I was like, I'm in Koreatown. And I was there living in LA, waiting to hear back from an apartment that I applied for here in Tulsa. And the way that my move was able to happen, it was all God. It was things that I couldn't, create on my own. And I'm just like, I'm here, like I'm here now. And it all happened, with me, turning over with words, something that I really needed. And so I'm just like, even when I'm here now and I just look around some nights, I'm like, I can't even believe this, Thank you for letting me share.
Thank you, Amanda. Any last shares before we close with the gratitude?
I have one quick one.
Please.
And it's the noticing resultant of the question that made me just completely, totally, utterly, and wholly, even more so appreciate that guy and that one and that bougainvillea to go along with our blooming. And yeah, and someone else in the chat referenced a little earlier about nature and being so moved by nature, and that truly moves me, and this question just made me appreciate it and stand in awe of it in this moment. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Denise. In the chat, Lori says, I love this card. Sunflowers always turn towards the light, and that light may be each other. I've been stopping to pay attention more to what is around me and what God has made. Thank you for sharing. So as we close, just invite you to just get settled for a second, just in your body. In some ways, as Veronica said, our skin suit, which can fill us with both awe in its resilience and the humility of its fragility. So in this moment, just invite you to think back over the last week of some spark of good, something that filled you with joy, something that you can appreciate. And feel into that moment, that experience. Feel free to share in the chat what that moment of goodness might be. I continue to be struck by the power of noticing. Cameron said in the chat, a year ago, I would talk about meditation begins with the practice of noticing each breath. Mindfulness is the practice of noticing change. Gratitude is the practice of noticing good. And now in 2021, heartfulness, the practice of noticing our heart. And with today, the tenderness of that beating rhythm. I was on a call earlier today, and a person shared that the only difference between fear and excitement is our breath. And when we pause to just notice, is what moves us from chaos to coherence. Because that's what the breath does. It creates coherence. It's not about being calm. Everybody talks about calm. Life's exciting. We know that. So my encouragement for you this week is just paying attention to your practice of noticing, and whether that's through the cards, Gratitude Blooming, or our G Thanks app, and just what is your practice of noticing? And are you bringing chaos or coherence to it? And so just everybody take a breath in and release. In and release. And I want you to stretch your arms out. It's almost we're like touching hands. And just feel that connection. Not only you reaching out, somebody is reaching out to you. Thank you so much for participating, for co-creating this social self-care and flying with both wings of gratitude. That self-care and that social connection. It's how we soar. More coming soon. Thank you so much for joining us. Belinda.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to share one more thing for those of you, this community feels really important to share this. Omar and I are actually collaborating on offering these gratitude circles to our healthcare workers. We know that they are really, really having a hard time right now. And we're actually offering a Sunday and a Monday circle this coming weekend. So, and I just chatted the link, and we would just love if you could get the word out. If there's anyone you know who is in healthcare that is just needing that appreciation and that self-care and that connection, we would just so appreciate your help in just creating spaces for those that need it really badly right now. And yeah, really just grateful to this circle of people and souls coming together today.
We're calling it our gratitude self-care packages. And it's one of those things that we started just focusing on one hospital in the Bay Area. And then recently we just got connected and asked to look at 53 hospitals in LA to see how we can roll this out. And heal the healers. And, you know, one of the things that when asked to sort of look at something for LA was that, yes, we can get the PPEs and maybe delivering of food. But at this point, what a lot of the healthcare workers are just stressed out, and there's a joy deficit. And so, you know, again, part of what I love about the gratitude circle, sort of different than healing circles or other circles that are out there, is that, again, the practice of gratitude is the noticing of good. And it's not to ignore the challenges or the difficulties. And so thank you so much for sharing this. And Belinda and I are iterating on some other new things that we hope to be rolling out soon. So stay tuned. Thank you all so much.
Thank you all.
Hope
Thank you.
to see you next week. Take care.